Welcome, everybody, to another edition of your Impact Attack. Yes, it is your Impact Attack, and I am Colin Wysong, and this is your free for view on channelattitude.com, as well as the Hameen Media Group Podbean. That is HMG Podbean, I guess, podbean.com. I never get corrected on what the actual address is, so we'll just make it up every week. Sure, if you go to Podbean and you search Hameen Media Group, or if you just search anywhere that has pods, is that what they call them? Like podcast pods? It doesn't matter. I haven't introduced you guys yet, so don't talk yet. Yeah, find us all there, guys. This is the free for view again on channelattitude.com, and I am Colin Wysong, and we're gonna throw it over to your 13-time One Piece fan trivia champion. It's the vet, ladies and gentlemen. Vet.
Now that's a title I might actually have won. Not that I did, but I might have.
Might have. Right. More believable than the ones that Big Ray comes up with for you on the Next Level Wrestling Review, which you can also find at channelattitude.com. We're just hitting him over the head.
All right, Colin, are you going to tell him or should I?
I'll go ahead and just tell him.
Well, before you do, introduce
I will.
Introduce our lovely co-host.
Hailing not from Canada. Also, he's not a part of the Motor City Machine Guns either. The man with the haziest of cameras. There's smoke, slow movement. The hair is just flowing oh so perfectly, like he's standing in front of a fan. It's Brandon.
How's your night going, guys?
It's going so far so good, with the exception of the fact that I found out just mere hours ago that I have to work now going on. Well, my last day off was last Tuesday, so I was expecting to have tomorrow off. And guess who has to work? That's this guy. And I have to work until Saturday, which I get Saturday off, and then I'll have my daughter and the whole family here over the weekend, right? We'll probably go back to Gastonia, go see my parents. But I have to be at work at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I work an hour away from where I live. So that means that I have to be up at like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning to leave my house by 8, which I have to leave earlier than that because of rush hour traffic, because everyone else lives 45 minutes of an hour away in Raleigh, North Carolina, and they all commute into Durham. And unfortunately, I'll be headed that same way. These fucking assholes. Why can't my store open so I can write my own schedule, Vet?
I don't know. But as you heard, as usual, Colin thinks that his life is more important than the Impact Attack podcast. So we're just going to... Do you guys know, though, how many times he's threatened to do this? Not be on the show, not do the show, only start the show and then leave in the middle. It's never once happened, but he thinks it's going to happen tonight. So
it's totally happening tonight.
So he
I will
thinks
fall
that,
asleep. You see these eyes?
He thinks that he's going to get the old proverbial couple of winks and then just jet off to work like nothing's happening and completely skip out on the Impact Attack. That's what he thinks of you guys, but that's not what we think. We'll let him do it, of course. He's free to go at any moment.
Health comes first, Vet.
What?
That's what April tells me.
Work comes first?
No, health comes first.
Health comes first?
Health comes first.
Health can be put on pause. You know,
no
much like how Luffy uses his gear transformations to shorten years off his life in exchange for some power now.
It's true. If only I could do that. Does anyone have any adrenochrome? Vet, you're on the show and you were in the WWE at one point in time. I'm gonna need you to get on the phone with Vince
WWE at
McMahon.
one point in time.
Yes, you were. You were a druid. That's being in the WWE, Vet.
That's right. Okay, I signed a one-night contract.
And you're also in the WWE because you're one of my snowflakes. It's okay, Vet.
Gross.
You'll miss it on the show tonight. So I'll be here, and then I'll hit you with the Jonah, just in case Jonah was on the show there. I also tried to watch some of the show just to let you know, but Spectrum only gives me 20 gigabytes a month, and every week I drive and I watch the show as I'm driving, so it's on like the stream site that I use. And so every week I drive up my usage for you, the listener at home, while I listen to the Impact Wrestling. And boy, did it start out hot, as you guys will talk about. Jay White, tag team. Chris Bay. Vet, I do have a question.
Okay, Jesus. Will you go to bed already? What is it?
I will. How much is it that how many times can Chris Bay take this pin before Jay White is done with him and his terribleness? He's going to be the new Chase Owens of the Bullet Club.
I think he'll be maybe 6 or 7 more pins, and then that's a wrap on Chris Bay.
Tell him to get out.
Yeah. So
All right.
that was a question.
Yeah, I mean, I figured we would talk some Elden Ring too, but
No time. Just
yeah, no time. I'm getting killed a lot, but
that's the name of the game, brother.
that is true.
That's the name of the game.
All right, guys. Well, chat, you have a wonderful evening. Fellas, you have a wonderful evening. I will see y'all next week at our new time. Vet, what is our new time?
Our new time is allegedly Sundays at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern time.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, that is correct. It is going to be Sundays, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That would be 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now, Vet, did you want to push that back? I think we're not doing it at 12 because Brandon has to leave, right?
Yes,
I don't
we're going to go on as scheduled, assuming that nobody else gets called into work. And if so, then we'll just have to go back to the old standby in emergency situations. But let's please look forward to the new time.
Gotcha. Well, guys, y'all have a wonderful evening. I will see y'all next week. Y'all have a great show. Good night.
And with that, we are finally free of Colin Wysong and his ridiculous randomness, and it's just the two of us, Brandon. So we're gonna kick off this show, like he said, with the Bullet Club versus the Motor City Machine Guns. Seems like a nice marquee matchup that was promised to us last week, so it's not appearing out of nowhere. They don't have a whole segment where they're having guys come in and open the show with long talking, and then they make the match right on the spot as if they had no matches. We had pretty much all the matches for the show made last week, which is something that I like, and it's something that is supposed to get you to continue to tune into the show. They don't always do it, but they have been doing it. So we're going to start out with this match, and it was quite a match. I would like to ask you your thoughts on the match to start, and then maybe I'll color in a couple of little points here. But this is the first time seeing the Motor City Machine Guns in a while, and then this sort of a makeshift tag team of Jay White and Chris Bay. So, how do you think it went?
Sorry, if I'm coming from my internet's been cutting in and out.
Your internet is cutting out?
It's been kind of cutting in and out a little bit. Yeah, I apologize.
Oh, that's all right. Did you hear what I said?
A little bit. I missed the last part.
Oh, I was just asking what your thoughts were on the match, because we had not seen Motor City Machine Guns in a while, and this is sort of a makeshift tag team. So,
I
Go ahead.
enjoyed it. I thought it was a very fun match to watch. But there is one big thing I noticed, like, see with these kind of matches is, at least with these guys, they do this very well. Like when they structure these matches, it's the psychology is there. Everything that happens for a reason. It makes sense. However, because it's probably because it was put together in the back, it just comes across as scripted and not organic. That's really the only thing. Other than that, though, like everything else was there. It made sense. It flowed. The psychology was there. Everything had a reason for happening, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great match.
Do you think that's a necessary thing because of the machine guns and their complex double teaming offense type thing? Like you can't kind of just call that stuff on the fly, so you have to lay it out, and then it seems kind of rehearsed and robotic. You think that's what causes it?
It could be potentially.
Okay.
I mean, that's really the only issue that I really have with this kind of wrestling, is that it doesn't really come across as authentic and organic.
Unless you are just a longtime TNA fan, and in which case to you it's very authentic and organic because this is the kind of matches that they have.
Right. X Division style is like if it's self-contained, cool.
Yeah. Well, just a funny little notes here. Chris Bay went for a drop kick, but he forgot that Saban was 5'5", and he kind of overshot him, kicked over his head, and had to readjust his feet to go downwards. Now the finish though was quite interesting, in which they made it seem as though it could almost be, it could almost have been a mistake, right? Where the referee is counting 3 and Jay goes for the breakup, but the referee counts all 3 counts, and then Jay's complaining at him, and the Motor City Machine Guns win, and they don't look too enthusiastic about it. I personally believe it was the planned finish, because if you really look at it, the ref had, how many times do we see pins get broken up or whatever? And if the ref knows, and you've been a referee, so you know this, if you know that the spot is coming where you're not supposed to count the 3, and a guy comes in to break it up and he's on time, then you're not going to count the 3. You're going to count the breakup, right? So the referee saw Jay White come in. He saw him push the guy like at around 2.5. He saw him push the guy, and he counted 3 anyway. So that makes me believe that was the planned finish all along. And did you see that as well? Do you agree with that?
Yep. Unless there was a colossal fuck up.
That would have had to been colossal. But but they had the Machine Guns music ready and everything, and they didn't go back to it. So I don't know. We'll see if they. I was wondering if we were going to get an angle out of this, but they didn't really follow up on this afterwards, did they?
Not really, no.
Right. And Buckshot Kid has a good point. He says if it was a botch finish, the show is taped. They could have filmed the proper finish, right? So that's another way, But I think that's their way of being creative and just trying to keep the audience guessing. Like it's something that works in a kayfabe sense, because you get to see like a missed save or something, but it also works for like the smart fans to try to fool the quote unquote smart, like the dumb smart fans, to be like, oh, they fucked up. They just like pulling ribs on the fans like that sometimes.
I can actually remember what was it? It was the first match of the Job Squad, where it was them versus Too Much, and the finish of that match was, I think it was, they're going for Too Much went for the Vegematic or the Death Sentence. They had it, and I think they had it on, I forgot, either Scorpio or Holly, and before Brian came off the top rope, they rolled up Scotty. Ref went for the count 1, 2, hesitated like he wasn't supposed to, and then hits the 3, and then it's pans up to Brian Christopher, and he's like, and you can clearly hear him say, that was not the finish. Or see his mouth say, like, that was not the finish.
Well, that probably wasn't the finish. But then again, who knows? Back in that time, they were trying to do shit like that. All right, so as long as we have nothing else, we can move on to the next match, which is Burt Macklin, FBI versus Rhino. Anthony Corelli's on commentary here again, and it's kind of weird. So I have sort of a mixed feelings on having Anthony Corelli here because on the one hand, he's great, you know, but on the other hand, he's not quite like I don't know exactly what is he adding to the whole thing? Like, is there like a larger plan in place for him? Because he's just playing the very straight man, which I'm not saying he should. I'm not saying he should have come out in an Italian accent and really ham it up. You know, I'm not saying that he should do his Santino shtick, but he's playing it so straight, and it's just for this one match. I don't really like. I don't know. Is it just because like, oh, you're in the vicinity? Here's something to do. We don't really have anything for you, so just sit out there. That seems like, I don't know, a waste, I guess, of this guy. I don't know what else he would do, but I mean, what do you think? Brandon could be frozen. He might appear to be frozen. Frank's Pickle Barrel ass says Santino is better than Anthony. I'm going to give Colin a minute, or not Colin, Brandon a minute to see if his internet comes back.
There we go.
Okay, he's back. He's back. All right. Well, we didn't really say anything. I just asked if you thought like I think that it seems kind of a waste to have Anthony Corelli just to do this and nothing else. Anybody could do this.
Yeah, it just felt like it was a random like here's something for like you said, here's something for you to do. Like, what's his connection? What's the point of him being out here? Does he know either of these guys? Like, what's going on here?
Right. So I would think for a spot where you're just like, oh, I don't have anything to do. Why don't you just be on commentary all night? You know, but to just be in this one match, it's kind of strange. But he has been. They have sort of just had him do this relating to these characters. The guys that, as I call them, the guys that fight violent by design, and then other invading forces whenever they come in, same five guys or anything around this situation. Buckshot Kid says Brandon smoked so much pot he's actually turned himself into stone. And Frank said that you kicked out at 2, which I don't know. Did you, or was JY too late making the save? I don't know. But yeah, the match was just look, what are we supposed to do? Talk about a match between Macklin and Rhino? I mean, come on, that's not what you guys are paying to hear. You're not paying to hear that sort of Wade Keller move by move recap commentary of, you know.
I will say that I did like the spot in there where they actually built towards a suplex, like 30 to 45 seconds, building towards a basic, simple yet impactful. Like, it's just the simplicities of that stuff like that, and just simple working and making a move matter.
Right. Well, I mean, you got a guy that has in Rhino, he's been around a long time, and then you got a guy that doesn't really. I don't know. I don't want to say he doesn't do much, but when you think back of Macklin matches, you don't think of like all the. It's hard to remember like him doing a string of crazy moves, not like the Motor City Machine Guns, at least. So yeah. But anyway, Macklin gores Rhino, and then that's the end. So no follow-up, right? No, not that I remember. I don't remember any sort of like, there's no promo, there's nothing. They're not saying that Macklin is involved with any group or whatever. They say he's out for himself, but Rhino did not get the revenge that he was looking for. So kind of flat.
There is kind of sort of a little bit of follow up. Like there's a reaction with him and Heath later, but it's nothing really with continuing the Macklin's.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. Before that, we get Caleb in a pink room, visited by the Inspiration, and they're basically just telling him, you know, something about like, oh, we know that last week you made the wrong choice, but I know next time you'll make the right choice. In referring to him giving the foreign object to, you know, whoever. I don't remember. But the key takeaway from this is that he's in a damn pink room, which I thought we were kind of getting over this whole weird lighting scheme. As Sonic joins the chat, and Brandon's frozen again. It looks like he's dropping out, and he'll probably come back in a second here. So everybody welcome Sonic, and let's welcome Jerome with an N, Jerome Hall. Hello, Jerome. As you see me flying solo for a moment, as Brandon dumps out and tries to come back in. Colin is not here, for anybody that's wondering. Where is Colin? He thinks that sleep is more important. He thinks that his job is more important. Nobody else thinks that. Only him. Everybody else here at Hameen Media Group knows that you all are the most important. And that's why we're here. So, moving on. As Brandon mentioned, before he was so rudely mistreated by his internet connection, Rhino gets a visit from Heath with a pep talk about being better together. Okay. And Heath is wearing a "This is my gimmick" shirt. That's kind of jabroni-ish to me when you wear like those business exposing type shirts. But yeah, so now we're just going to get the Rhino and Heath tag team, I guess. Rhino seems to be into it. He seemed to be very into it. He seemed almost disturbingly into it. He was kind of growling and grunting about it. So, yeah. Frank asks, how many damn pizzas does Colin have to make at 1 a.m.? Man, I guess all the pizzas. Or at least he's just going to sleep. So. All right. Next up, Commentator Pro is back. And that is, of course, Brian Myers sitting at his custom ringside table. And he's there for Larry D versus Bhupinder Gujjar. And teleporting in once again, Brandon. Hello, Brandon. Hopefully these issues have gotten sorted out.
Hopefully. So Matt Hardy gave me a ride back in.
Oh, that was very nice of him. You know, I know he's preoccupied with other things, like getting kicked out of one group and then having to carry the dead weight of his brother. So that's
teleportation powers helped out a lot.
Well, I just finished talking about the Rhino and Heath thing. Did you have anything to add to that other than I said it was sort of like Rhino was into the idea of forming the tag team, almost disturbingly into it, the way he was acting. He seemed like he may need some tissues after that. So anything to add on that?
No, other than it seems like just seems to be a common thing. Like it was, or at least another segment throughout the night seems to be kind of hyping the tag team division a little bit more, which is kind of nice to see. So we've been seeing like the same guys, like the same like 3 teams the last several months.
Right, absolutely, and we've got to inject some variety into that at least, because I mean you're already throwing multiple. It's when you have only three tag teams, but that's still 6 guys. You know what I mean? Like we have to get something different. So and then so now we're at the Larry D versus Bhupinder match, and again, I'm not going to go blow by blow with this, but another win for Gujjar with the corner spear, and then afterwards, Singh comes back in the ring again and does whatever I don't know what his point is that he's trying to make, because now it's basically he's been silent, like that. Before he was actually on mic saying things like, hey man, I brought you in. Can I get some credit or something? And now he's just in there just saying things. And then he actually gets shoved this time, and he gets shoved right into the whole table spot with W. Morrissey, because now Brian Myers has been chased off by Morrissey coming down to the ring, which this is all he does now. Like he's not that into his whole Impact Championship, chase or anything like that. All he wants to do now is wait till Brian Myers is at the table out there and then come and powerbomb him through it. And now it's going to be somebody else, and that somebody is going to be Raj Singh. So we get it. There you go. A powerbomb for the people. They're all happy. People in the front row are very happy to see Singh go through the table. So yeah, there it is. But Bhupinder with another win. So they've clearly got some plans for this guy. But I mean, I'm kind of looking at him like, okay, he seems to have a good basic understanding, but is something missing, or are we just not seeing anything from the Impact side to give him any extra flavor?
I mean, there could be a little bit more like added to him, kind of like just a little bit more, so we know who he is, other than just guy who's here and he's apparently has something going on with Raj Singh, where to me it comes across as you're Indian, I'm Indian, let's get together. Like
or not get together.
We can do better than that, guys.
I don't know if they can, but we'll see. Yeah, but what do you think about the whole? What do you think about this whole Brian Myers and Morrissey bit? Is this already stupid, or
it's jumped the shark?
Okay.
Like the first time it was okay, then the second time it was like okay, and then it's like, all right, can we do something else now?
All right, yeah, I agree with that. So Elizabeth saying he feels really vanilla. I'm sure referring to Gujar. Yeah, he kind of does. That's the thing. He's supposed to, I think, at this point. I don't think it's something that they're trying and failing. I think they're kind of putting him in and giving him like maybe a slow build up with the backdrop of this other guy that he doesn't get along with for whatever reason, to the point of shoving him, now, whereas before he just walked away. Buckshot Kid says Morrissey's getting a babyface pop, but is acting like a heel by putting everybody through a table for no apparent reason. True. I don't know. I guess putting people through a table in 2022 is the new smiling and tagging hands on the way down to the ring. Like, people, for some reason, like, I don't know if it's ironic or what, but they love tables now. They just absolutely love tables. They cheer for tables when tables are not involved. They boo when tables aren't used. People are table thirsty now. I don't know what it is all of a sudden, but yeah. And I also don't know what it is with Speedball Mike Bailey, because he's in front of some kind of pink storage lockup. Well, what the hell? With this storage lockup, and then Ace comes in for a chat about the X Division title and how he's gonna win it, and Bailey's like, "Well, one of us is gonna win it." So a more passive aggressive agreeing with Ace Austin, which I find this refreshing, just in the sense of it's not the usual thing. They're trying to be a little more subtle with it. I don't know if it's exciting, but at this point, I'll take different over exciting. I'm tired of people trying to be exciting and then just being a cliche. Like, I don't know how everybody else feels, but that's how I feel. But yeah, the pink storage lockup. So we've got a pink light somewhere here in the Louisville tapings, and they're using it here. But yeah. Any thoughts on that before we move on?
Yeah, I'm liking how it seems like kind of like how Austin's kind of trying to like do the keep your friends close to enemies closer bit with it. Ace like playing along with it, and Fulton seems to kind of notice that too, and it's just kind of its own little thing, and kind of it's something. At least it's something. And progressing on a weekly basis.
All right. I hope you caught all that, guys, because Brandon was kind of freezing up there for a second again. I hope.
Shit! I'm sorry.
Damn it! What are you on your neighbor's Wi-Fi? What's going on here?
I have no idea what's going on.
All right. Well, shit. Everything else is going so great on this show. Why not? So Honor No More is in some kind of utility room. I couldn't tell exactly if it's like, is this like a steam room or like a boiler room or something? There's pipes in there. I saw pipes.
Janitor's closet?
Yeah, some weird. There's a fire exit there. They're just hanging out doing a promo.
Maybe the water heater for the bathrooms.
Yeah, it's got to be something like that, right? So, anyways, so Lish comes in to lecture her fat husband, and he says, hey, maybe Impact Wrestling is going down the wrong path. You ever think of that? So genius psychology from Eddie Edwards, pulling the old kindergarten, nuh-uh, it's you trick on his wife. So let's get this straight. He's saying that Impact Wrestling is going down the wrong path, and the reason he didn't turn on anybody except Impact Wrestling, right? That's what he's been saying. However, what he did was he joined the faction that was annexed by Impact, just because they won a random match that was set up. So now he's under the umbrella of a company that's under the umbrella of the company he was working for. Is that what we're supposed to take from this? So Eddie's smart, right? He's a smart guy.
I really don't. It's never really been completely established what their motivation is post getting like jobs there. Like, okay, what are you guys trying to do? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? That's really never been established yet. We kind of need to see that.
Yeah, I have a feeling that we won't. But what we will see next is the Knockouts 3-way, in which Deonna is defending ostensibly both of her championships against, pardon me for a moment, Lady Frost and what is her name? Giselle Shaw.
Yep.
So we've got our triple threat here. Well, I don't know. Do you have anything to say about this? Because it was, I think I saw the least amount of Lady Frost screw ups that I've seen in a while, but still not. I don't know. I don't know.
It looked like she sandbagged on that Half Nelson Slam.
Probably so. And if she does, I don't know if she does that on purpose. I just think she doesn't know. This has got to be a nightmare for Deonna to be in control of, like, because she's clearly steering the ship here, and it's like, I don't know. I'm also not a fan of three-ways as three-way wrestling matches. Three-way wrestling matches. I should clarify. So, my opinion on this is going to be slightly skewed because even at the best, I don't usually like them, but this seemed like just okay to me. And I know I say this often, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm repeating myself or that I'm trying to pick on Deonna, but if she's not going to switch to some sort of a cat suit type apparel for the time being, then she's gonna have to limit her carbs because it's just not looking good. I know there's another lady here that can agree with me and has in the past, so like at least I have that backup. Anyways. So any other thoughts on this three-way match or any details that you may have picked up?
They didn't really clarify like how like it would the pins work. Like the only way we really know like how the titles would change if they did is if like the announcers were saying like she doesn't have to be involved in the decision to lose both belts. That was really all we really got, and it just felt like really formulatic three-way, which was probably for the best considering who we had in there, and probably easier for Deonna to keep it under control that way. Just like okay, two people in. One gets bumped out. These two people work for a bit, bump out, finish.
Right. Some comments from the Peanut Gallery. Frank's Pickle Barrel ass says, Lady Frost wrestles at my Elks. Sonic the Hedgehog says, just drop the lady part from Lady Frost and just go by Frost. Warner Brothers ain't going to sue you. And Buckshot Kid says, I like to see a three-way match with the stipulation nobody can leave the ring. See, now, if you did something like that, then that would force the action a little bit more. But on the other hand, if they did that, it would be somebody just lying in the corner instead of outside the ring for 5 minutes while the other two do their spots, right? They just go lie under a turnbuckle somewhere. Liz says it's about wearing the gear that flatters your body, especially when she's wrestling more in shape girls, right? So Lady Frost keeping it tight, Giselle Shaw, no real body fat there to speak of, so it stands out more. but right. It's all about like I always say, if you're not fat enough to do the fat girl gimmick, so you've got to be. And where's Candace Spaceman, by the way? Because he'd be over here talking about how hot Deonna Purrazzo is. Normally at this time, this would be that portion of the show, but man, I'm not seeing him here. So anyway, so now we get Josh Alexander with Gia, no music underneath, talking about signing the contract. I want to talk about, speaking of suing and stuff, Sonic. Can he not be sued for using the Punisher logo just because that half of the skull is a Canadian flag? Is that not actionable now because he's altered it just enough? He's altered the literal Marvel Punisher logo. So that's a question. But yeah, so just a quick promo just to remind you that Josh Alexander is here and he's going to be in the main event tonight, and hasn't forgotten about Moose and the contract, right? So. Good job there. Any other thoughts?
Nope, just a basic setup promo, advances the story, and kind of sets up of what we might be seeing later on of we haven't seen Moose yet, so it kind of helps build him as well.
That's right. We haven't seen Moose yet. I don't know if I like that or not. Actually, I do know. I don't like it. I think this show should be wall-to-wall Moose. All Moose all the time. He should be constant. They should have, how we have up in the corner, we have a picture there of Moose and Ben. There should always be like a live Moose cam, like picture in picture going on. Just what is he doing? Is he just sitting in his room like a kingpin? Is he getting something to eat? Is he is he warming up? Like what the Moose doing? Is the question that every Impact show should ask and answer, in my opinion. So, isn't the guy who created the Punisher Canadian? I don't know. Maybe. That doesn't make it okay. Anyway, because I can tell you this: if he created the Punisher, he don't own it now. That's a Disney thing. Disney's the Punisher. Isn't that? Get a kinder, gentler Frank Castle. Earlier on BTI, the Good Brothers want their tag title rematch next week, and that was our whole BTI thing. And then we get in Scott D'Amore's office. He grants their wish; they will get their tag title rematch next week. But it's a lumberjack. Oh, and by the way, the winners are going to Rebellion to defend it in an 8-team elimination match. Yep, this is Impact. We are definitely watching Impact now. We can tell by what in the hell is this booking? First of all, don't tell me that at a pay-per-view that's already going to be too long for me to want to watch, that I'm going to have to watch 8 teams go through like a gauntlet match. Or it better be like a battle royal. I swear to God, it better be a battle royal where it's like
the gauntlet for the gold.
Yep, and if one guy gets eliminated, his partner has to leave too. We need to cut this shit down. Cut it down. So I'm not looking forward to that. But if you like the Good Brothers and them just talking to Scott D'Amore, then this was probably your highlight of the night. Anything I forgot?
Nope, sounds about right.
Okay. Next is Jonah with Zicky Dice already in the ring. No entrance, right? He just got the jobber just already in the ring. Okay, this don't last long, but the main point is that PCO is wheeled out on a gurney to revive and walk down to the ring. Like, okay. I know this is the gimmick. I get it. If this was the only time you do shit like this, I guess I can forgive it, because you could just say, like, you could explain this away in your mind. You could say, like, okay, the guy PCO wants these guys to do this so that he can have his big entrance moment. So he tells them, hey, strap me down to this or whatever, and then I'm going to get off, and then you push me out there. Not that you just got delivered fresh from the hospital. And like, I'm not going to go with that line of thinking, which I'm not sure Impact doesn't want me to think that. I think they want me to believe that PCO just got taken straight from the hospital in a reverse situation where they load him out of the ambulance on a gurney, roll him up to the stage. That's just standard medical protocol when you recover from an injury, to just be delivered by gurney to the spot that you last that you were last injured. I'm afraid.
I think this is all just set up just for the announcers can scream, "He's alive!"
Yes.
The whole Frankenstein spot.
Right. We all knew he was alive. That's fine. Buckshot Kid, real quick, says, does Colin realize moving this show to Sunday morning Impact pay-per-views are on Saturday night? If not, don't tell him. Don't worry, Buckshot. No one listens to this show. We won't tell him. No one except everyone, because we're booking Impact. Anyways, my question, the biggest takeaway I have from this thing, this whole PCO and Jonah thing, why does security break people up who are fighting and they're in full control of their faculties and fighting on even ground with each other, but helpless victims are just left to be annihilated? Like if Moose wants to cripple somebody, or you know what I mean, like no security whatsoever, but two healthy, strong men fighting toe to toe in the middle of the ring, that's when we have to empty the locker room to save these people, right?
Yep,
Like,
they're in the ring, away from people. It's completely safe and controlled environment, and it's clear cut that somebody's going to win this fight and walk away.
Yeah. So we gotta do better on that. If you're gonna send the, Colin's not here to hit the guards drop, but if you're gonna send more guards, you have to be consistent with it. So,
And make it make sense.
yeah. What are you worried about? Two guys are gonna fight, and then what? It'd be the same thing that happens every time two guys fight. Either somebody comes out and makes it an official match, or somebody just gets beat up and then we go to commercial and then we don't see what happens. So what are you worried about? So next we get the footage of the concert that Mickie James was doing when she was attacked by Tasha. So we heard about this and now we're using the footage. So they did utilize it well. I guess. Now it is another instance of filmed crimes on wrestling television, right? That's everyone's favorite thing to do, is film crimes.
One thing I've always actually wondered about, except I've heard that criticism a lot, and I'm wondering, like, for stuff like that, when it's like a direct thing, like her assaulting Mickie, for the police to get involved, wouldn't Mickie be the one have to initiate it and press charges herself?
I suppose, but that adds the question, like, why wouldn't you? Right? What? Because she's a babyface, she's not going to press charges for assault? Or no, like perhaps the concert promoter may have a say in this. Like, hey, you ruined my show. Can this bitch go to jail? Like, we just have to think in real world when, and we'll talk about it again at the end of the show. If you film your crimes, like, we're just supposed to believe that in this universe that's different than ours, apparently, people can just do whatever they want, and there's all they get out of it is another match and another payday potentially. So, go ahead. But I mean, I like it, but if you're going to do that, you're going to have to explain somehow why. I mean, Tasha wasn't here this week, right? So I don't think it's because they said that she was serving time, but yeah. Anyway, this goes straight.
Or another creative way around it is could have her be arrested, and Mickie bails her out because she wants a piece of her ass.
Yeah, a piece of her ass. Anyway, this goes right into the hardcore besties with Gia and no music underneath. Mickie still doesn't want Chell in her corner for next week's street fight because she's injured. So they get around the whole cliche, I have to do this on my own thing, which, I've been on record as saying that that's stupid because it's not about doing it on your own. It's about having backup for the people that are trying to beat you up when you're doing it on your own. And nobody doesn't want that. Like, there's not one person that says, no, I'll just take the 5-on-1 beating. Thanks. I don't need your help. But here, at least they say, well, you broke your damn wrist. You broke your wrist beating somebody up. I don't want you to help me. I mean, she didn't say it like that, but maybe she should have. So yeah, but this is as usual, this is a Chelsea Green segment. So anything that you have prepared that you'd like to share with the rest of us, I'll give you the floor.
Chelsea Green is gorgeous. Chelsea Green is amazing. We see more Chelsea Green in our lives.
Perhaps a Chelsea Green cam, opposite of the Moose cam. We'll just have one camera in each corner, and then we can see what they're doing at all times. Perhaps they would interact, and then the pictures would cross over, and then it'd merge into a bigger picture. You know, kind of like how when we're on the StreamYard and we've got the 3 window, and then Colin thinks he needs to go to sleep, so our windows become bigger, right? So you could have a Moose and a Chell cam. That's one way to do it. But we don't get that. We just tell her, hey, you're weak, so don't help me. You're going to hurt again. That's basically what Mickey says.
It definitely looks like they're kind of building some sort of tension. I'm expecting that Chelsea to turn on her at some point. Plus, with Matt being heel, it would make sense to turn her as well.
Right. As long as they take their time with it, because I'm tired of all these heel turns. Everybody gets turned heel. It's just embarrassing. They can't define who a character is, and then they're already switching them up. And they expect the fans to come along and be invested. The WWE does this because I don't even want to say they can't, because I know they could, but they don't get anybody over anymore. So rather than have babyfaces go out there and get booed because the fans are given no reason to cheer for them, they just turn everybody so that if you boo them for sucking, that it's at least you're a heel, right? That's basically their philosophy on it. But here in Impact, they don't have to do those things, and they obviously are trying to provide the alternative. So I'd appreciate it if they make sure that whenever the eventual turn does come, it is for a good reason. It probably won't, though. It'll probably just be okay, it's time, and then she'll just flip out on her, but whatever. I mean, it could be, what they could be doing, right, is they could be doing something every time she interacts with Matt, he puts a little something on it, does Mickey really have your back, bro? Something like that, just to get her well, of course she does. She's my best friend, and all that. Something like that.
Just there's a little something every week, and then something happens where he can be see?
Right. He's like, you beat up what's the guy's name that's not there anymore? I forget.
Rohit Raju.
Yeah, you beat up Rohit Raju, bro. I want you in my corner. Yeah, he could say something like that, and then she could be like, yeah, I did beat him up. So, we'll see if they do that now that we've said it here on the Impact Attack. Yeah. Here's a catchphrase we'll see about, getting over. Who's ready to get knocked out by Masha Slamovich? It doesn't quite have the same, quality as Who Wants to Walk with Elias. That kind of rolls off the tongue. But I think Who's Ready to Get Knocked Out by Masha Slamovich, while a lot of syllables, could be a marketing campaign of some sort.
It could work. It's just too long. I mean, it's not a bad phrase. It's just it's okay, get on with it.
Right. It's just, it is long. It's like if Colin were here and he started the show saying it, he would fall asleep before he finished saying it. So, but yeah, well, I'll tell you who's ready to get knocked out by Masha Slamovich. Somebody named Aerie. This chick looks like a Chili's waitress. I'm sorry. She wrestles like one too, at least in the sense of getting beaten in a few seconds. No disrespect to her. She might be a hell of a worker, but here, she's fodder, for our Russian female Goldberg here that we've got. So, I mean, I like it. it works. I like sometimes people when they do things like this, when they do like a streak or like when somebody's doing get over matches for a while, you hear fans kind of say like, come on, it's the same old thing. But don't we always like the same old thing? Like, don't we always go back to the same comfort foods and the same, like, comfortable clothes, and like we like the same something's nice and warm and fuzzy about seeing Masha Slamovich come out and drop somebody on their head and leave. Like that's all I really need. I don't need to see her in a 15-minute match against somebody else. Like, I don't need to see her in a competitive match right now. Or maybe not ever. Maybe she just keeps dropping people on their head, and it's just like, okay, I got my took my vitamins for the week, and I'm good here. I got my Masha burning hammer on the neck. That's just what I always, I don't know how everybody else feels, but that's how I feel. What do you think?
I mean, it's good getting her over. I think she is kind of like I think she's been established as, okay, this is a badass that will just plow through anybody. I'd like to see her, maybe not in upper talent, maybe like like a lower tier, like a lower end female established talent. Like, see how she does with that. Maybe a little bit of a longer match, like maybe a minute, 2 minutes tops. Just a little bit of an advancement.
Yeah. Well, I've seen her in a longer match, and let's just say I like these matches. It's as diplomatic as I'll put it. But yeah, I mean, that's the other thing too. If you notice, historically, when they have people go on runs like this, whenever they give somebody the whole, feed them the jobbers thing, it doesn't go anywhere. Like, they don't become the top guy or gal at whatever promotion they're in. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't, with the exception of Goldberg, which is the famous example that we all bring up because it's one that everybody knows and because it's one that went on to big success in WCW, right? So we all know about the streak, even though obviously that was not the first ever, undefeated streak, or certainly wouldn't be the last. But, even with guys that were trying to recreate that, like with a Ryback, for instance, he was not really, he never became the guy. He briefly maybe got a one or two WWE title matches, but they were never going to pull the trigger on it. They're never going to pull the trigger on Ryan Reeves. They just didn't care about him there. They didn't like him there. He was almost a rib to them. So they weren't going to do that. But a lot of times when people go on a streak, or like when they have somebody like a Omos with killing people now on a rampage on Raw now, they're not going to make him the champion. You know what I mean? It's just not going to happen. So it's weird how they build these people up like this, and then they usually don't go anywhere with it. So we'll see if Masha gets any sort of a different trajectory here, but I'm just not. Historically, I just don't see it. We'll see.
I can see something where she's eventually built into like a monster that's eventually fed to a face they're wanting to get over.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like anybody's that they have right now is strong enough for that. So it's like they've got Mickie James right now, which is kind of just like, I think it's like a stopgap, right? I think they're using her, like, while they have her available, they're going to use her to kind of shine a light on Impact as much as she can. And then she's ready to step aside at any moment, right? She's not a mark for this. So when her job is done and when she's ready to move on, or they're ready to move on, she's ready to move on. But then who takes that place? Like, who's the hot woman's babyface?
Right.
That they have right now? Who is? No, literally, I'm asking, who is it? Because I don't know.
No, me either. I mean, Jordan, maybe.
Maybe Jordan.
Rosemary.
You're right, but they're always going to keep Rosemary in the gimmick team stuff. Seems like. I mean, she's had her runs before, but you know what I mean, like, which Decay hasn't been on. So what's up with that?
And plus, she's in the tag team with Havoc as well.
Right. So, which they have a Knockouts tag team division and not enough teams, just like the men. So it's like, who's going to be that breakout? You know, it's good. It's a lot of heel stuff that they got going on. Deanna's in a, I guess Lady Frost is a baby face, but I mean, goddamn, that can't
But that's
happen.
more like a by default though.
Right. And she's not getting much sympathy when the only thing that she's doing on TV is like, you know, when she and Giselle are arguing back and forth with each other, like, well, I beat you, so I should get a shot. Well, I beat you last, so I should get a shot. Like, that doesn't exactly get that doesn't rally the people behind you. You know what I mean?
It looks like two kids arguing.
Which is what it is essentially. So, anyway, we'll see what's in store for Masha. Maybe she'll just get over so much that she will be the babyface. Maybe she's the babyface now, even in light of world events. Who knows?
Hey, that'd be something.
Right. So Zicky, we get more Zicky, which is always a good thing here. It couldn't have been enough just to get laid down on by Jonah earlier. We got to get at least a follow up. So he's with Gia, and there's no music underneath that. And Gia suggests, well, he kind of is saying like he doesn't know what he's got to do. There's got to be some place that he can learn, and Gia suggests like a wrestling school.
Yep, and as soon as you said that, I'm like, I know exactly where this is going, and like almost by design, what comes next?
By design, yeah. What comes next? By design, he goes to Violent by Design in that prison that they had Rhino in, and then he's going to become the new Rhino, and then.
No, I mean like the next thing that comes after this, or the next thing that comes after this one. I apologize, my bad.
Oh yes. Okay, well, yeah, let's go to that. I'm sure this is what everybody who watched this episode was waiting for, just to hear me talk about Swingers Dungeon. I don't know. Commentary had a similar reaction to mine right after this, so I mean, you can just look at their faces, and that would have been like you being in the room with me. But yeah, do you want to try to explain this to the people?
I was laughing too damn hard at this. Like I'm so like for the comedy stuff, like in the swinger stuff. I think like when they get it, they get it. This was for what it was. I laughed my ass off. I thought it was funny. Like the Lance Storm bit, like that's when Lance Storm is always at his best, when he's like the straight man in the middle of craziness, like that. Like
what did he say in his testimonial? He said something like, "I have never heard of this, and I do not endorse this."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like the part where he's like talking about I don't even have to advertise. I got people showing up, a bunch of intergender wrestlers and demolition marks. See people walking around in BDSM gear behind them.
Right.
Yeah. I'm sorry. This like in a wrestling heavy show, like seeing like a little bit of like some good comedy. It's a nice change of pace.
Well, I will put that good in air quotes, but that's just me. I'll never really get behind Johnny Swinger's version of what he's doing. I think he can do it better and funnier than this, but maybe I'm giving him too much credit. Anyway, for the people that like that sort of thing, that's the sort of thing those people like Buckshot Kid. So, all right, well, moving on to the main event. We have Tall Ace Austin with Mickey Mouse gloves versus Josh Alexander. All right, well, so again, I'm not going to go blow by blow for this match, but I did notice that in general, the match seemed a little, like there was some parts of it that seemed somewhat reckless. Like, for example, the apron bump on Josh Alexander, and then subsequently the barricade spot where Taven does like a baseball slide and kicks him, and he goes flying into the barricade, which could have scooted back and perhaps hit hit the fans that are sitting right there, because they have those like the guardrails that are they're joined at that hinge thing, the interlocking hinge, and so when you go into them, they bow inward toward the audience, and then people sitting right there. It didn't happen, but it could have. And for what? Like, do we need Do we need that? It's not enough to get baseball slid and just sell it to the floor and fall on the floor. Like, you don't need to crash into the barricade and potentially hurt a fan. So a little bit of recklessness there. I didn't care to see, and maybe a little sloppiness later in the match, but I mean, it's fine. It's Josh Alexander. He has fine matches. You're not really going to complain about that too much. Still not really sold on Matt Taven. Don't think much of him, but you know, some people seem to be high on him, so I'm continuing to give him a chance now, being 5 years removed from the last time I saw him when I didn't think much of him. You can learn a lot in 5 years. How much he learned is anybody's guess, but that's what I'm trying to find out. So that's what I thought. A little reckless and maybe a tiny bit sloppy, but what did you see?
I mean, pretty much the same things. It's a basic, I think it's kind of continuation of, or I think they're trying to sell it as a continuation of like the fact that he couldn't be part of the Team Impact. So they're kind of following through with that. But where was I? Oh, sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought there for a second. The match itself, I thought was decent. I mean, like you said, reckless in some portions. The finish, though, I thought was kind of. I always hear Ben go off on it when we go off about Seth Rollins doing this, the Superplex Falcons Arrow, and this was Superplex C4 Spike. At least this led to a pin.
Right. Yeah. I mean, just because you go overkill, as long as it is kill.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, Buckshot Kid says this match went long for a guy who was going up against Impact champion Moose. But, Tall Ace Austin with Mickey Mouse gloves is a champion himself of some renown in Ring of Honor, even though when he's champion, the company goes out of business. So
I needed to get back in the ring and get that ring rust off, Sonic.
Yeah. Lab Rat just has a series of emojis, which is hilarious. I don't have the ability to put them up on the screen, but even so, you couldn't hear it on Channel Attitude, even if I did. But it's just the kissy face emoji blowing 2 puffs of a cloud of smoke, and then the nonplussed face, and then the covered in clouds face. 3 of them. So excellent emoji work from Lab Rat. You're an all-star. Yeah, and of course Sonic saying that you lost your train of thought thinking about that wrong kind of dungeon. But we're moving on from that. We're not talking about the damn Swingers dungeon anymore.
It's Moose time.
Yeah, it's finally Moose time. And of course, we're going to get this. Apparently, Moose stars in a student film about delivering a contract to Josh's wife. Again, I don't know if they'll submit this to the Academy for consideration for the award ceremonies in 2023, but they did score this film, of course. There's, the haunting music, just so that that this is serious business here. And the performance by the kid leaves a little something to be desired. So does his haircut. So essentially, for those who didn't see it, a camera crew sees Moose pull up to a house, knock on the door with the contract in his hand. It's Josh Alexander's house, obviously. His wife answers. He pushes his way inside a little bit. And he is trespassing and maybe entering. I don't know if it's breaking. She did open the door, but certainly, whatever the legal penal code is for that behavior can definitely be enacted here because it's a filmed crime. And he goes in and he basically says that she's got nothing to worry about. It's just that he wants to deliver the contract and the Anthem offices are closed. And since they just live down the street, maybe you guys can drop it off at their office for me in the morning. And then he says to the kid, hi, I'm your dad's friend from work. And then anyways, he leaves. And here's the genius touch. I don't know if this was Moose's touch or somebody else's. I'm not going to say that Moose couldn't have thought of it, but I just think that it was probably part of the direction. Was as he's leaving the front door, he says, "Let's go." Did you hear that? Did you catch that? It's him saying to the whoever's filming this, like, he brought that guy along. So that explains why the camera's there, which you need to do. I know that there's been some dissension in the past about having to explain why the camera's there. I've heard Russo talking about that, like saying it doesn't matter. And then guys like Jarrett saying, yes, it does matter. It's stupid to just have a camera there. And I'm fully in the camp of it's stupid to have a camera there. You need to explain why that shit's there. So he does that with that one little thing. Now it makes it seem like this whole thing is set up by Moose. However, that leads to, that leads to a series of other questions. Starting with Buckshot Kid. Wait, Moose went to Toronto for just this? Like, it's a little out of the way. They were supposed to be in Louisville, and the champ is not nowhere around. He's up in Toronto just to be too late to deliver the contract to the Anthem offices. So that's a question. He also said they're going to drop it off for him in the morning, which, according to what D'Amore said, would be too late because we're supposed to have it at the end of the show tonight, which is actually probably 3 weeks ago. But don't worry about that. Let's just stick with the timeline of this is all happening in real time. So now he's able to get the filmed crime complete with musical score submitted, and he gets that footage over to Impact to be able to play on their television show. So does that count does this count as him delivering the contract because he delivered it signed? We didn't see that it was signed. He gave her a sealed envelope. So is it signed? Is it too late?
I don't remember. Maybe D'Amore said needed to be signed by the deadline. And then that maybe Moose's way of saying, hey, I'm dropping it off. I signed it. Here it is. Basically his proof of saying, hey, I did what I was supposed to do.
Yep. And so now we don't even know if it's signed because it stayed in the envelope. Yep, so what if they just say, so what if D'Amore just says, all right, Moose, nice try. We're stripping you of the title. As if it wouldn't be enough that you showed up at the dude's house and taped it. And then you're like, you know what? Just for showing up at somebody's house and forcing your way inside and threatening a child, maybe, I'm going to strip you of the title. Like that's more grounds than not delivering the signed contract. I would think if I was running a wrestling company and my champion behaved in such a manner, even if it is Moose, well, maybe not if it was Moose and maybe not if I was running the company, but I'm using a hypothetical situation to try to explain here that you cannot do these things.
Yep. Real world, like he'd be suspended and then we're going to get the police involved. The pending investigation will go from there.
Right. So in any case, I guess the cliffhanger for this episode is to see if this counts as dropping off the contract signed. That's our cliffhanger. It's not it's not to see what's going to happen if Josh is going to get his revenge on Moose.
And all they would have had to do is have the announcer say is, how is Josh going to react to this next week? That's all they had to do.
Yeah.
And then bring up too his unstable emotions. And like he just threatened his family. You know how Josh Alexander is when his family's involved. You know how he emotionally can get. How is he going to respond next week? Something that simple.
Something that simple. All those things. And sometimes they get all the little details right and miss the big picture. So, but that is your cliffhanger. For better or worse, your cliffhanger is, does it count? So, not my favorite use of Moose and not my desired amount of Moose. This is a very relatively Moose-free Impact, which, that's never going to score points in my book. So while I'm not saying that you have to have him out there wrestling 20-minute matches every week, I would still like to see more Moose. I would like to see the show revolving around Moose. And if you don't want to revolve the show around Moose, or, whoever you want to make the champion, then I don't know. I think you have to reevaluate the whole sort of focus and structure of your little universe and not worry about whether Johnny Swingers confusing a sex dungeon for Stu Hart's dungeon.
Yep, the champ is the centerpiece of the show.
Yeah. Sometimes you feel like in wrestling, they just give belts to people to shut them up, and then they do the stuff with the things that people really want to do. Which Moose doesn't strike me as that kind of person. Certainly not, judging by his social media posts in reference to how people talk about him and the way he's booked and treated in certain aspects. So he seems to be very professional in that regard. So, yeah. But
yeah, I could not imagine him being unprofessional. Like, he strikes me as super professional.
Yep. And it doesn't seem to matter because all you get is a little mini movie at the end of your random impact. But maybe they're thinking a little Moose goes a long way. Maybe they're under the attitude of preserving Moose. Moose preserves. I don't know. Maybe some of you Canadians can tell me if Moose preserves are a thing. But in any case, that's another impact. So we've got this next week to look forward to. And when is Rebellion? Do you recall offhand when Rebellion comes in?
I'll go look that up now.
So that'll be our next of the seems like bi-weekly pay-per-views that Impact is running. Hope they're making good money on these.
April 23rd.
What? April 23rd?
We got us a whole month.
Oh no. Oh no. Wow.
Now they could use this time wisely and build those matches and really try to pop a buy rate.
No, that's not going to happen. We know who we're talking about here. Papa buy rate. Look who you're talking about. You're talking about Impact, right? Yeah, I just that's it's tough. So we're gonna see what they'll do. Hopefully, it can't be next Saturday. Is it really next Saturday? No. That's what Buckshot Kid says. Rebellion?
Yeah, April 23rd.
April 23rd. Oh, but the next special is April 1st. But what's that? What's the special called? Obviously, if they're talking about this big championship match at Rebellion, that's still not going to be for another month, so you've already now had them show up at the guy's house, and now you've got a month to have these guys like not. The last time Moose was supposed to have a title match with the guy that was a physical threat, he ended up smashing his neck to pieces with chairs, and then the guy just came out next week like nothing ever happened. So, is that what's going to happen with Josh? Is he going to cripple Josh Alexander and he'll just show up? Is that their booking? I don't know. So, well, that's their booking. What happened?
We shall see.
We shall see. And we will see you guys. Well, the next time we see you could be on a Sunday morning, or I could completely forget that was supposed to happen again, and Colin could get called into work again. We never know. So as we see the ticker, I can only imagine that there's one guy. There's only one guy that could be possibly putting this ticker up. And you know what? If you want to, just come on in. I know they said you weren't going to, but there's no point in not coming on. Just come on. Just come on. We'll wait. Just a surprise for the people. You know, the people deserve something after this somewhat of a lackluster Impact. I think we did the best we could with it, but they deserve a treat. And you also have to pick up after your boy, who just unceremoniously ditched us for sleep. I'm vamping here. I'm waiting. But if it's not going to happen, then I guess we'll just oh shit. He did it, and he's muted, but he knows how to work this thing. He's a classy producer, and you're going to vote for him for producer and talent. Well, maybe not talented. That'll be me, but he'll get producer of the year for the Hammies in 2022. Belated though they may be, Big Ray Hernandez. Good morning. It's morning. Good morning.
Text you like 20 times. How come you don't fucking reply?
20 times. I have perhaps 2 or 3 texts.
All right. What's 20 take away 3? 17. I texted you 17 times. You never replied.
No. Should we hash it out right here live as a special bonus for the Impact Attack listeners?
Sure.
Oh, let me grab some popcorn.
Okay. So, the first text. Let's go through the text. This is Sunday, March 20th, 2022, 8:31 p.m.
Oh.
Are you guys doing Impact Attack tonight or tomorrow? When are you going to start doing it Sundays? I just want to figure out when I'm going to be producing it for Channel Attitude, bro.
Yep.
Okay. Now, as I get this text, I'm asleep. Now, when I wake up and I see this text, I go, well, I know Big Ray can't wait 5 seconds for a reply, so he probably just texted Colin immediately that I didn't reply in 5 seconds to ask him a question that should be a Colin question.
Maybe I texted Colin first. He didn't reply, so I texted you.
Oh,
Next.
so Big Ray's bad at reading signals. I'm just kidding, Big Ray. No, I really was asleep and I did not get that. But I figured everything played out the way it did.
Oh, you slept till now?
Yes. But I also don't know the answer.
Okay.
Because when are you going to start doing it Sundays? Shit, I don't know. So what do you want me to say? Anyway, I figured you talked to Colin. That's Colin, you know. You and Colin, you guys are the unbeatable team. You can catch Big Ray and Colin every Wednesday for the Ridiculously Random podcast. The top 5 coming up this week will be, what was it, alternative hits of the 90s?
Yeah, he wanted to do some shit. Top 5 dreams. I'm like, what is that? I actually texted him, what is top 5 dreams? Oh, no, not top 5 dreams. Top 5 birthdays.
Like of your own birthdays?
The fuck do I know? So I'm like, what the fuck does that mean?
Top 5 someone else's birthdays?
I was like, what is top 5 birthdays? Top 5 celebrity birthdays? Top 5. He's like, oh, no, just, top 5 birthdays. Like, in celebration of your birthday. My birthday was 2 weeks ago. Who cares anymore? It's not like it's special birthdays. And then 2 days after my birthday, I'm fucking depressed and I want to kill myself because I miss my father because it's my father's birthday. So I want to sit back and talk about my father's birthday when he's dead. Stupid, right?
I wouldn't have suggested it.
Colin's stupid. I think we can all agree.
Well, I think we can. So, wait.
Brandon, how are you doing, Brandon?
I am doing super. Thank you for asking.
Buckshot Kid's still going with the top 5 porn movies. He's pushing that hard.
I literally.
Pun intended. He is pushing that hard.
When is Elizabeth's birthday?
Push it hard.
When's her birthday?
Top 5 Elizabeth birthdays.
She puts
The
up
last
a tweet.
5.
Hold on,
The first 5.
She
The
puts up
middle
a
5.
tweet. She puts up a tweet saying something about, oh, send me a cake from this place or whatever the fuck. I asked her, does she have a special cake P.O. box? Like, is there a P.O. box that we could just send cakes to? That she goes to this post office and there's...
You see the guy like trying to smash a cake into the little...
Is it like a refrigerator?
That's right.
I don't know. How am I going to send you that cake? Follow me on TikTok at Big Ray Hernandez. I'm learning how to do that. My son taught me a whole bunch of stuff. I put up some stuff. I actually had to edit. I felt uneasy today, guys, because I went to Starbucks, and nobody's wearing a mask anymore in Starbucks. So I'm standing online. This woman turns around, and she straight up goes, "Pardon me, do you mind putting on a mask?" So I did. So the girl behind everybody knows me there. They actually, when I walk in, they start making my coffee because it's every fucking day. So I do in my big voice. I go, "Well, ma'am, just like that, real loud. Well, ma'am, that's what I say. I said absolutely, positively, and unequivocally, no. I will not put on a mask. Have a nice day. She was very angry.
Did she ask everyone else there before you too, like that wasn't wearing a mask?
No, the doof in front of her was wearing a mask. She turns around. I guess because I have allergies around this time. You know, I'm doing this a lot. Asked me to put on a mask. She was wearing a mask. Fucking ugly cunt.
So she wasn't wearing one either.
No, she was wearing one.
Oh, okay.
But from here, like from the fucking nose up, she like somebody pushed her off a building earlier in her life.
Well,
saying.
perhaps they did, and perhaps that's why her immunodeficiency symptoms are compromised. Whatever the system, I don't know. Maybe that's why she wants you to wear a mask. Anyways,
Where the fuck is my phone?
as Ray looks for his phone, so
No, instead of me having to edit this in, I'll just play out to the same shit I do every fucking week. Just give me a second. Just talk about something real quick. Talk about what do you play? Super Nintendo or whatever.
So yeah, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. When I was dead broke, man, I couldn't picture this. Well, that's gonna do it for us this week. We've had
not enough time, buddy. I need a little
we've had
more
a wonderful show. All kinds of exciting developments and special guests galore.
Need more moose.
And we needed more moose. We didn't get enough moose, but we did bring in a bonus Big Ray, so I think everybody got their money's worth for Channel Attitude. And if you want to follow us, of course, I'm at Opinion Haver everywhere, and you can find me online on Twitch playing video games sometimes, twitch.tv/Opinion Haver. Of course, you can find me on the Next Level Wrestling Review with my man Big Ray every Wednesday, except when he's not there. Don't worry, he'll never miss a ridiculously random top 5 podcast. In fact, when he's not available to do the Next Level Wrestling Review, he will put up the reservation for the ridiculously random podcast while we're still on the air doing the Next Level Wrestling Review without him. So he won't even wait for us to go off the air before he puts up the reservation for the ridiculously random podcast. So
I'm gonna stop the moose. I'm gonna stop the moose song for 1 second. Let me explain something to you. So my birthday was when?
Who cares?
Tuesday. Okay, so all Tuesday night.
Is that in your top 5?
I'm going to be spending time. No, it's not. My father's death birthday is in my top 5. So anyway, so me and my wife are spending time together. We're getting drunk. We're eating. We're having sexual relations. Okay, just because I'm 46 doesn't mean I don't get it up anymore. It still works well. All right, so we did that. So I'm up all night. I have no time to watch NXT that night, and then the next day she took off the next day so that we can spend quality time together. We never get to spend any time together. So that's why I took off. I didn't do the show Wednesday morning. Wednesday evening, she goes to bed at 10 because she has to be at work at early in the morning. So I was free to do the show then. I think that's fair, right, guys?
And I think it's fair that Ray put up the reservation while we are still live on the air. Ben Hameen and the Vet are live on the air, and he's putting up the reservation for the Ridiculously Random podcast, which means he was at least aware enough during the time of the show's recording to put over his own shit.
I was legit on the toilet when I did that.
You guys draw your own conclusions.
I was on the toilet.
And then wonder why Big Ray doesn't need a text every 5 seconds from me.
I just would like a text back. I thought you were dead. That. I even text you on your Twitter.
Because that'll work if I'm not answering my phone, right?
You got to see the text I sent Colin. Colin, is he okay? Colin, do you know if he's all right? Colin, did you call him? Colin. Nothing. I didn't wash my hands. Rely Brat. I don't know what that means, wash my hands. What do you mean wash my hands? When I was in the bathroom? A week ago? I think I would have washed my hands since then. Anyway.
And if Brandon's done with his popcorn, you can find him at
Miss Tia the Transarchist on Twitch, Twitter, and all the socials. We should be getting back into streams this week. We'll be doing one on Wednesday. Not sure what time, but we'll be getting into the new stuff with Warcraft. The new phase drops tomorrow. We'll be doing some heroic grinding to get, and we might be doing a ZA run. Not sure. We'll see how that goes, and we'll see you then.
That's
Very
pretty
nice.
awesome. Oh, can I put something over real quick?
Sure.
So I'm telling you guys way ahead of time. Do I have enough Moose music? Yeah, I do. So WrestleMania, as you guys know, it's in 2 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
WrestleMania is in 2 weeks. So Ben Hameen is going to be wrestling that weekend, so he can't do the show Monday morning. So I will be leaving work at approximately 12 o'clock midnight, coming home by around 1:30 in the morning. I'll be in bed at 2:30 in the morning, and I'll be up and ready to go at 9:30 a.m. Now this is why I'm telling you so early, because I know usually they start the show around 8:30 in the morning. Well, it'll be me, Richard Bronson Vickery, and a special guest, a former in-ring competitor, may be joining us for the review, 2-night review of WrestleMania 38. 38, right? 38. So I'm just letting you guys know ahead of time. It'll be that Monday after night 2 of WrestleMania here at Hami Media Group on YouTube. And follow me on TikTok, Big Ray Hernandez.
Very exciting. Very exciting. All right. Well, I guess that's it. If nobody has anything else, then this has been your Impact Attack for March 22nd for some of you, 2022. For Big Ray and for Brandon, I've been the Vet, and we will see you next week, hopefully with more Moose.
See that? You know how much laundry that is? It's 2 weeks worth of fucking laundry, guys. It's a lot of goddamn laundry. Goodbye, everybody. Fucking hate Colin. I wonder if he goes home and he smells like just meatballs and cheese and bread.
Undoubtedly.
Or if he just smells like tears. Tears of the Mexican guys actually making the pizzas.